Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. It's the season finale, The Handmaid's Tale, Season 4, Episode 10, entitled The Wilderness. I give a recap of the entire episode with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I have all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. June reminisces about the traumatic experiences and moments at the Jezebel location. How Fred used to taunt her and telling her that you don't fight, you don't bite, you don't fight back, you don't run away. June has arrived at the location to give her final statements concerning the Waterfords. Her words will be documented on video recording, and there's no one present. Mark warns that Frank's request will likely be granted due to the critical information that he's giving. He wants her to know that it wasn't a plot to hurt her in any way. After giving her statements, June is frozen in the traumatic events in Gilead as she reflects back the trauma of everything. June returns home and Luke tries his best to move forward with positive words, saying, "You're home, Nicole is home. Let's look at the blessings of everything." June pleads with Rita that you must stop constantly cleaning and trying to cook for us. Rita apologizes and says that it's something that she's working on, the constant need to want to take care of them, something that was forced on her in Gilead. She's getting counseling to break those habits. Moria breaks the news and shaking her head that Fred gets to go to Geneva, and Canada is even making sure that he finds a way to get there. Moria suggests that June should go there and let the people know who he is and maybe give some more media information. But June says that she's done all that she could do. She's given her statements. And maybe Canada has a plan that the information that they have, that they will make do of it. Moria isn't taking that for an answer. She wants to raise money and go to Geneva. He leaves in exactly 1 week. Fred still gives loose testimony, but gives more details about children and women in Gilead, denying involvement in Jezebel locations and persons that are possibly deceased. He says that I loosely was there and maybe I was present, but I don't know. Serena talks with Mark in the hallway and demand that Fred be addressed as commander, and they need to make sure that he's addressed with respect. They need security once they leave, faster internet service because Fred still has meetings to tend to, and housing, of course, big enough for their family. Mark reminds her that they are still under the custody until the judge's rulings. Mark notices Serena's change in demeanor and newfound cockiness and confidence. Serena is confident that they will leave together as husband and wife. Emily gets updates from June concerning the case, and they try to take a breather while watching Oliver enjoy outside. June wants to find some sort of peace with her family because, quote, a good mother would be able to just let go. As June walks down the hallway, it's so many reminiscent traumatic experiences of Gilead. We see that hallway leads her to the jail area where Fred is located. Fred slathers on the insults to June, calling her a Fred, and then saying, "I can call you June, can't I? It's unfortunate of all the things that you say that happened, and all those bad things you said to the court about me. I mean, those things were just untrue. If you had unfortunate experiences in my home, I apologize. I could only imagine how you felt. I mean, having a child and being away from them. As a father, I could only imagine." He speaks as June notices his alcohol beverages, and all of his fine cigars. He continues to taunt June by saying how he misses a Fred and how wonderful she was. June agrees and says that she misses a Fred too. She misses her courage and strength, and is surprised that he gave an apology at all. She wants a drink and invites Fred to have a drink with her. He agrees and they cheers to a Fred. Luke picks up June from the location and says, we should just relax. And you know what? Let's get a beer. How about a beer? But June just wants to go home to rest. It's been a long, emotional, exhausting day. June mumbles, I'm gonna put Fred on the wall. I'm gonna put him on the wall. As Luke whispers, you gotta let that go. Let it go. June shows up to Mark's place of residence and he sees her as he comes back from a jog. He's frustrated that she showed up to where he lives and says, you have my email, my phone number, and now you're at my home. It's just unacceptable. She apologizes for popping up, but explains, Gilead could make the worst out of someone. Just give me a ride and listen, please. He tells her that he wishes that he could do more, and he's frustrated about everything. And she says again, just give me a ride and listen. Just listen. Mark and June take a drive, and June confirms that a certain someone has approved their safe passage, and the embassy arranged the call. It's Lawrence. He wants to make an arrangement to get Fred back. Mark says, I understand because maybe now you're getting a little scared. But Lawrence says that he wants to make maybe possible monetary policy changes and offers information of women who were a part of the resistance. Mark notices that they thought a lot of these women were already deceased. He says that Fred is not some used car. He fell, and he's my countryman. He was lost, and he needs to come home. June tells Mark that yes, Fred has been a wonderful asset, and he's giving us a lot of reliable information. Those 22 women. Are you telling me that Fred is more important than those 22 women? Everything that you've done, everything that I've done, is for this moment and for them. Mark says to Lawrence, yeah, that's right. He's given us a lot of information, and I understand. I'll take this to my boss. And Lawrence says, oh, but that's good. Mark leaves the room, and Lawrence tells June that good job, June. Your influence is still strong, I see. What you're doing, it's not enough. June, whatever happens to Fred, before he gets to me, it won't be enough. And June responds, God bless you, Joseph. At dinner, everybody discusses that, okay, if they make the trade, Fred will go to trial in Gilead, and it's possible he'll go to jail or end up at the colonies. Gloria just wants everything with Fred and his situation to be over so she can just move on with her life. June just wants Fred to be afraid because I was afraid for so long. Like in the woods when I was caught and when they took Anna. I want him to be scared to death. Fred is dressed and ready to go to the airport, and we can see the excitement in his face. Serena ends a call with the ICC and says that they seem very confident in press. Serena hands off important court documents for Fred to review concerning the markups and changes concerning the court case. She says they will have to divide and conquer for a while apart. He suggests Zoom calls, and Serena agrees. Her phone rings and she tells Fred that she has another conference call. As she speaks, Fred looks behind him as if he's seeing her for the last time. Fred is greeted by assistants of Gilead as Fred smiles with confidence. But Mark catches up with him and has a few words. And Fred says, "I didn't expect your presence. Will you be joining us?" Mark tells him, "You're not going anywhere, Fred. The ICC has found you unfit for release and any type of leniency." Fred screams that he demands to speak with his lawyer immediately. But Mark tells him he has no lawyer. Fred repeatedly says that he's a man and he has rights as they load him into the arrest van. As the evening approaches, June observes her friend, child, and husband as they relax at home. Later on in the night, Fred notices that they're in a strange location. Mark commands him to get off the van, and we see that it's obvious that women are passing them who are at the colonies. Mark screams to the other authorities to check all of the names on the list, and I want to make sure all of them are present. "Fred, you're going home. You're going to Gilead for their decision." They cross the border into Gilead, and it's Lawrence. Lawrence says to Fred, "Praise be, you're home." Fred obviously looks terrified and claims everything he did was to protect his family, and "I want to apologize." Nick arrives and says to Fred, "You're now in the custody of the eyes." And Lawrence mocks, "I guess there's nothing that I can do to object this." He's chained as they drive to the next location. When they stop, the location is not specified, and Nick tells him that you're not exactly in Gilead. This is no man's land. And in the horizon, he sees June standing there. June arrives and kisses Nick and thanks him. June gives Fred a choice between a whistle or a gun. He doesn't respond, but Fred says, "You're a good woman." June blows the whistle, and there are several women he terrorized watching. June tells him, "Run." He runs for his life as they all follow. When they catch up to him, June starts with the first punch, and then several punches to his face, and others join. Serena awaits Fred's Zoom call, but there's no response. During a mail disbursement, an employee notices a strange package addressed to Serena, and it's labeled to observe the contents. There's a ring that drops out, and Fred's finger that follows. The morning continues to arrive as they all come out of the forest. The women look satisfied and exhausted, and it reads on their faces. June arrives at home, and she holds her daughter. Luke wakes up confused and sees the blood on June's face. And what he sees brings him to a seated position in disbelief. He drops to the floor in tears. June looks him in the eyes and apologizes and says, I know. I'm sorry. Just give me a few more minutes with her." And that is the end of Season 4, the season finale, The Wilderness. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to the recaps and the reviews. If you stuck with me this entire season and watched every video, thank you so much. Make sure to spread the word and let everybody know about this movie and television show recap and review channel. Now let's talk about something I don't even know what to talk about first because so much happened. Let's talk about Serena. So you know Miss Serena, I I feel that she knew what was going to happen. She knew what was going to happen. She's such a manipulator. She knew what was going to happen. It's just, if you watch mystery or court shows about cases and things leading into other things, you pay attention to detail. Serena talks about how she was on the phone with the ICC and how they're confident about what's going to happen in the media, playing this game with Fred. She's a manipulator. Remember, she manipulated Fred, telling him a couple of episodes ago that I need you, knowing that she was just using him to get what she wanted. And we see the aftermath of that. What gave it away also was the fact that, wow, I can't believe this is happening. It's a miracle, right? When she was talking to Fred, and he gave all the kudos to, his faith and everything that he's done. And she knowing and feeling that, wow, he still won't give me any credit for what I've done. Pretty much her ideas and all of her concepts coming back to bite her in the butt. But she's seeing it as an insult that, wow, he still won't acknowledge that my brains and my strategy have pretty much worked throughout this whole process. She's deceptive. She got what she wanted. That phone call, I feel, was the phone call not only the ICC letting them know, right, that he's getting ready to leave, he's about to head outside, and then also in a timely fashion, Mark getting off the phone saying, yes, ma'am, yes, blah, blah, blah. Them conferring back to back, the ICC, Serena talking to the ICC contacting Mark giving the signal to, hey, we got this guy. He's not going anywhere. So clearly she was in on that. She's just thinking about herself and that baby, being so cocky and confident, playing this deceptive role in, I don't know what's going to happen to him, but I have an idea of how I'm going to save my own butt. I mean, that's what she did. That is my clear understanding. Now, let's just say she didn't know what was going to happen, right? Let's just say she honestly thought he was going to the airport. I don't think so, because if you love your man so much and he leaving and you don't know when you going to see him again, she didn't give him a hug. She didn't say, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see you again. You're leaving first. You're on this plane. She didn't give him a hug. She didn't give him nothing. She just, and then he had to suggest the Zoom calls. And she's like, yeah, we can do the Zoom calls. It's just, it's kind of just playing along with it, So it's probably unexpected for her and his fate, what happened to him, because clearly she was sitting there, thinking he was going to chime in on Zoom call. You know what I mean? She could have been thinking, man, he's going to get to Gilead. He's going to go through the trial. And he probably thinking, hey, he'll still meet his fate in Gilead at least. And maybe he'll get on the wall for, snitching, right? Serena is at this point to where it could either go one or two ways for her character. She can either be in a place of protection because she can say, hey, he snitched and I didn't, because she's been in all of the rooms and all of the conversations as he's giving this information away, because she can tell Gilead and communicate with Gilead what he snitched on and what he said, because she's constantly been in the back, letting him be in the forefront of giving all of the information, letting him just sing and just say all of the stuff that he needs to say. So she can say, hey, I didn't say anything. I remained faithful to Gilead, right? So a good thing for season 5 would be her thinking she's going to turn to Gilead and everything's okie-manokie. And then she being someone that has to work in the colonies and she having the baby taken away. You know what I mean? Her having this idea like she's going to be protected and safe, but Gilead just could be using her information to chew her up and spit her out. So for season 5 with Gilead, right? We're talking about war. We're talking about strategies. We're talking about the art of war and how they're going to plan, and conquer and proceed with their ideas. Gilead, speaking of Gilead, now that they know that Fred has talked, right? They don't know the specifics of everything that he shared. So it only makes sense that now they may switch around who's in command and who's in control of what. Locations, information about what they have. Now they're probably going to switch some stuff around. because that would make sense, because they're not stupid. I believe that the character Lawrence knew that June was being deceptive and wanted something to happen to Fred. And it was this win-win situation. It was this win-win of, if we can get rid of Fred, he can stop talking about stuff that we have and information that we have. Because even though they can switch stuff around, that stuff's going to take time, because now you're changing the fluidity of how Gilead has worked or has been working. Okay, so I honestly think that the character of Lawrence knows that she's just running some game. She could care less what happens to Fred. Her goal is to get the women back, but clearly know that there's some sort of motive. You would think they would be even. We traded Fred for women that were at the colonies, right? Fred saying, hey, Mark saying, hey, check off all the names off the list and make sure that all of the names on the list, and we got them. So make sure it's this fair trade situation that's going on, right? But when it comes to that, we still have to remember that Gilead's short on food. They're short on supplies. And then also Canada is running into the same situation and not having as much medical aid that they need. So as I've been saying this entire season, with season 5, now we have to step back and see what's going on from a worldly perspective. What is the rest of the world doing? We've had little salt grains here and there throughout the seasons of such and such is trading this and such is trading that, and maybe some other countries are adapting the ideas of certain things that they're doing, but they're not forcing people, to do the same things that are in Gilead. They're trying to make sure that if you are fertile, if you, are they saying if you're in a relationship, try to have children? What is the rest of the world doing? Season 5 will have to give us that. They have to give us that information, because with Gilead, it started out with just Gilead, and then they just wore that out, and we have a good idea what's going on in Gilead. Then we moved on to Canada, and we got more ideas of what was happening in other areas, and we got to see what was going on with Chicago. We got to see what was going on in other areas, right? So we have to broaden that in season 5 to make everything make sense, because like I said in the last review, it will help us understand how far along are they in dividing and conquering Gilead. Because if we get rid of Gilead, then what's going on with how other people view things, right? Luke, the troubled look on his face at the end lets us know, without a doubt, their relationship is probably done after this. Remember that Luke is not in the same set of mind of murder and all this other stuff. June has done what she's had to do to get out of this situation, so his mind can't connect. Oh my goodness, did June just do what I think she did? To see blood on her face and all that. He's been protected and not seen the amount of violence that June has seen. Her making the statement, okay, just give me a few more minutes, clearly gives the indication that whatever's going to happen after this, our family will not be the same, right? So, just think, you're married to someone and they come home with blood over them and you're like, what the heck? Like, that relationship will never be the same. You can't say, oh, you did that to somebody. Oh, okay, well, let's just clean you off and just go about our day and then, cook breakfast and maybe go to the mall. No, like, he's not used to that dynamic. So that dynamic is probably completely different. And that's probably fair game, because once again, June has given Nick the passionate kiss, and he's giving her this sort of redemption, justice, and allowed her to just go complete regulator on Fred. Meanwhile, Luke has said, let's just see this as a blessing. Let's just move on. Let it go. Two totally ways that these men are seeing the dynamic of what's going on. Nick has been on that level of seeing that violence and trauma and all of those things, and it's something that June and Luke cannot connect on, and they see things totally different. Now, when it comes to the attack, right, and them being in no man's land, is June in more danger? So all those women that were involved and all this other stuff, will Lawrence use that against those women and say this is an opportunity to declare war? Can he lie and say, oh my goodness, we were trying to get Fred back, and all of these women, they were outnumbered and we had to hurry up and leave, and they killed Fred? Like, can they play it like that to use that as an excuse? I mean, what are they going to do with that? Are they going to lie? Are they going to run with it? Because they have to explain, or do they have to explain how these women of the colonies were able to go to Canada? And will that change Nick's stance? Will he blame it all on Nick? We don't know what Lawrence is going to do. He's all about power and could care less about what's going on. He's playing chess, not checkers. So Lawrence is very dangerous in giving this perception that he's a good guy, because he has an ulterior motive. Because remember, when he sat down with Mark in June, he said, oh, how about we get this updated policy? He was trying to make a big move, and Mark was like, no, you know what I mean? Because that's war talk. We can't just sit here and talk about changing some policies around. So he definitely is like 10 steps ahead in what he really, 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 really wants to do. So we're going to see some switcheroos when it comes to power, definitely in season 5 when it comes to Gilead. And who all knew about the attack in No Man's Land? Did Maria know? Did Rita know? And will they be upset that they weren't told about it? What if they wanted to participate in that? So there's going to be, like I said before, some division in their friendship, without a doubt, especially after this. Because if they didn't know, it's going to be like, well, why didn't you tell me? What if I wanted to go? What if I wanted justice? So that's going to pop up in season 5 as well. Luke and that outrage. Is he even safe, now mentally in what's going on? He's taking care of not only the child that's not his, but he's taking care of trying to be strong enough for Nicole, right? So is he emotionally gonna be okay in season 5? Emotionally, people can break down and have just these traumatic breakdowns when they're just like emotionally overwhelmed by it all, because we haven't seen him crack yet. He's been holding it in, and he's been trying to stay, okay, let me be strong for everybody. And as I estimated in the last review, we will see him crack. That moment of anger and just being so upset and knowing that his wife is not the same anymore. Maria being upset with June and having to put stuff on pause for June and just trying to be a good friend. It's put a lot of people's relationships in this strange dynamic. Let me know what you think. I'm really, really, really thinking that season 5 will expand and we could see more of what's going on with the rest of the world. Because supplies, food, that desperation will change. You'd be surprised how it will change how people behave. And a good war strategy would be to attack and make Gilead implode, as I mentioned in the last review, meaning for it to go bad from the inside and then have a domino effect, and then they fall. Because as Lawrence said, we're strong military-wise, but if we don't have any food, and if it's this, and this, then we won't survive. So Lawrence is really smart in what's going on. And it's obvious that a lot of the other commanders really didn't care for Fred. But maybe if they hear about what happened to him, maybe they might start, leaning on what really happened. I think they're going to use Serena, chew up and spit her out when they're done with her. Because, we don't know. We don't know, but that's my guess. So let me know what you think. Subscribe, hit that like button, like this video. I hope you guys have a happy Juneteenth. I hope you guys have a happy weekend. Be positive, be kind to others, write your comments down, and respect one another as much as possible. We all can agree to disagree, but respect is number one. Check out a lot of those links in the pinned comment and check out shows that you normally wouldn't watch. And on this channel, you know this saying, when one show ends, another one takes its place. So we do have Wu-Tang: An American Saga, a Hulu original series that begins soon, and also a plethora of other shows that are coming as well. More productions, more networks are starting to release and tell us what shows are next. So let me know what you think. In the meantime, take care of yourself and each other. I love you guys. Bye.